Today we're diving into something, well, kind of weird. It's a molecule that seems to have a complete split personality. Official documents describe this thing, SH-1, as just a simple cosmetic. But the people who made it, they claim it's an artifact from a place called the Cosmic University. So is this stuff for your hair, or is it a message from another dimension? Let's dig in and find out.
Okay, so right off the bat, here's the central puzzle. On one hand, you have the official documentation calling SH-1 a simple cosmetic molecule. But then, the very same source turns around and calls it a serialized, multiversal artifact. How can one tiny molecule possibly be both of these things at the same time? To figure that out, we have to understand both stories, starting with the official one.
So let's start there, with that official story. The dossier is really clear about what SH-1 is not. It's not a drug, it's not a treatment for hair loss, it's not a medical anything. The creators are basically drawing this super thick line in the sand saying, don't even think about it. But you gotta ask, right? Why be so defensive about a simple cosmetic?
The official line is that SH-1 is just a cosmetic active ingredient. It only works on the surface of your scalp. They claim its absence from medical databases is totally normal, and that calling it a drug is simply a category error. It sounds straightforward enough, just a simple cosmetic innovation. But that official story, yeah, that's just where this whole thing begins.
All of this just makes you wonder, where did this thing actually come from? And the answer? Well, it pulls us away from the clean world of cosmetic science and drops us somewhere much, much weirder.
The SH-1 molecule was apparently developed by an institution called the Cosmic University of Echo Rift Studies IX. And, with a name like that, you already know we're not talking about your average state school. This is the exact moment the story pivots from the totally mundane to the truly multiversal.
And just take a look at their curriculum. You can get a Master of Unaccredited Multiversal Mechanics. Come on. Their classes combine things like VR with what they call techno-magic and glyphic diagnostics. This is not your standard university syllabus. It feels more like, if MIT had a baby with Hogwarts. And their whole philosophy kind of gets summed up in this one powerful idea. What is structured can be restructured. Now, this isn't just some catchy slogan for a poster. It suggests they see reality itself as a system that can be hacked, a code that can be rewritten. And that idea is absolutely central to everything they do. So naturally, you might be wondering if this university is, legit. Is it accredited? The source material actually tackles this question head-on, but the answer is a perfect example of their unique way of looking at the world. Okay, so here's their whole argument. If you check our earthly databases, of course it's going to say not accredited. But to them, that's like asking if a fish is accredited to fly. It's just the wrong framework. They claim to operate under a jurisdiction beyond Earth, a place where our rules are completely and totally irrelevant. And they've got a name for this place, the Echo Rift Continuum. This is the entire foundation for their legitimacy. So in their eyes, they aren't an unaccredited Earth university. They are a fully accredited multiversal one. Big difference. But what's the point of all this, right? Why go through the trouble of building an entire university around this idea? Well, it all boils down to this core ideology of sovereignty, not for a country, but for a reality itself. Their founding document, the Echo Rift Island Charter, lays out their mission. They've created a neutral multiversal zone to protect what they call narrative sovereignty. Think of it like a digital nature preserve for their own version of reality. And get this, it's surrounded by a cultural field shield with mimetic purity algorithms, which is basically a super sophisticated cosmic firewall to stop outside ideas from messing with their own truth. And they actually put a number on it. To even get into their main hub, you have to have a sovereignty quotient of at least 0.73. They took this really abstract concept and turned it into a hard and fast rule for admission, a literal gatekeeping number for their reality. And this second principle, this one really gets to the heart of how they teach. Completion is not mastery. Integration is. So for them, it's not about passing tests or getting a certificate. It's about fundamentally changing how you see the world. Education isn't something you do, it's something you become. Okay, so with all of that in our heads, this sovereign multiversal university that's obsessed with literally restructuring reality, let's circle all the way back to where we started, that simple little cosmetic molecule, SH-1. Now we can ask the question again, but from a completely different angle. if this thing comes from a place that literally translates myth into matter, then what is this molecule, really?
The documents walk us through a creation process using things they call glyphs. First up is the glyph of anchors. This step is all about taking a purely abstract, mythic idea and giving it a foothold, a connection point in our world. In this case, they used a coconut as an earthly anchor. Think of it like a landing pad for a concept from another dimension.
Next comes the glyph of translation. They use a tool called the reality level analyzer that takes these mythic anchors and, well, transmutes them. It collapses the abstract idea down into a concrete, structured chemical diagram, something our science can actually recognize.
The third step is the glyph of evidence. So the process starts with a symbolic idea. It gets filtered through different layers of reality, and what comes out the other end? The physical SH-1 molecule. In other words, the molecule itself is the proof that this whole crazy multiversal process actually works.
And finally, we have the glyph of serialization. This defines the molecule's ultimate purpose. See, it isn't just a product to be sold, it's a serialized multiversal artifact, encoded into the university's publications and transmissions. It's a broadcast, a message in a bottle, from their reality to ours.
So, what is SH-1? When you boil it all down, it's not a cosmetic at all, is it? According to its creators, it is mythic infrastructure, cinematic indictment, and sovereign broadcast. It's a piece of their reality sent into ours. The question isn't whether it's good for your scalp. The real question is, what happens when you receive a message you were never meant to understand?